Okay guys, welcome back to Fix It Today. Working on the 273 small block Mopar project. Today we're going to install this camshaft into the engine block. First step you want to do is, when installing a camshaft, make sure these cam bearings are clean. The next step is to lubricate each cam bearing. There's 5 here, so one all the way in the back, 3 in the middle, and 1 in the front right here. Right there. We're going to use Clevite cam guard. Okay, we're installing the lubrication on the cam bearings. I just use my finger. Be sure to cover the entire bearing surface. Okay, at this point we're going to install the camshaft. When installing the camshaft, be careful not to bang the bearings. Try to guide it in as smoothly as possible. You'll be able to get it in most of the way with your hand, but at the end here, you're not going to be able to hold on too much of anything. So you'll probably need to use a bolt on the end to push it in the rest of the way. We're going to try doing it by hand though. See what happens. And I did get it in by hand without using bolts in the end of the camshaft. Okay, so that's how to install a camshaft. After installing the camshaft, this plate goes over the front of the camshaft. It's 4 bolts. Okay, camshaft plate is on there tight. Next, we're going to install the timing set, the cam sprocket and the cam gear. If you'll notice, there is a alignment mark, this little dot here on this gear, and on the corresponding cam gear there's this little circle here stamped in here. You can see that right there. Those gears, those dots, those alignment marks have to line up on the front of the engine block here, the cam gear and the camshaft gear. Once you get the gears on, you need to align the dots on the crankshaft. So we'll have to rotate the crankshaft so that this little mark is on top dead center. And we're going to rotate the camshaft so that this little marking is lined up. We want these two to be lined up pretty vertically parallel to each other so that the engine will run. That's the timing of the engine, the sequence of the firing order. If you don't get that right, your engine won't run. Once you get the gears where you need them to be, then you need to put the timing chain on. You may have to take this back off here, this lower gear, to get it lined up in there properly. I had a bit of trouble getting it off, so we'll see. Might have to wiggle the camshaft sprocket off of there. I should have put it on together. So installing the timing chain, I had to take off the cam sprocket to get the chain on. So you'll want to make sure that your alignment marks are in the right spot while slipping the chain on at the same time. Remember, you want the dots to be almost, you want them to be lined up parallel with each other, vertical. This lower dot here and the upper dot right there. Once you get that lined up, slide the cam gear on. My keyway is not lined up with my timing gear here, so I'm going to have to rotate the cam to make it align up there. So, but that putting the timing chain on the cam gear and then slipping it on the crankshaft gear, and it all falls in together. So we've got the markings lined up. You can see that one there. And that dot right there. They're lined up, and to get them onto the snouts of the camshaft and the crankshaft, I did lightly tap them on with a rubber mallet. Now they're lined up where they need to be. Next is going to drop in the oiling rod. The oil pump runs off the camshaft. You can see the gear in there and the little slot that the oiling shaft goes in. Just drops that in there and it falls right into place. To hold the camshaft gear on once you're finished installing the timing chain, you're going to want to put this back on the end of the camshaft. This is for the fuel pump. If you're not using the manual style fuel pump, I suppose you could just use the bolt with the washer to hold the camshaft gear onto the camshaft, but in my case I'm putting the manual oil pump back on. So there's a slot here that just lines up with the keyway. Rotate it until it falls into place, and then stick the bolt back in the hole. It is supposed to be offset. So that's how the pump works. When the camshaft rotates, it drives the arm on the fuel pump. Okay, that's it. And obviously the water pump plate and the water pump will all cover this, and then we'll have to press on the harmonic damper later, then put the pulleys on the front, but that's another video. Okay guys, if you liked watching this, like and subscribe. Fix it today.